I'm so excited for another opportunity to come and to share this evening with you. I am Janelle Simone, and I am the founder of Shop Bob. Now, Shop Bob is a space where we get to highlight and feature Black owned businesses. That's right. Every single week, we get the chance to feature amazing small business owners, founders, as well as experts to help promote their businesses, to help get us together so that we can do better business, and of course, to help build a community that we can support one another moving forward. So I'm glad everybody is jumping in because there's a lot of things that Shop Bob is doing. Yes, we are building a marketplace that allows Black-owned services to feature their services, their products, sell, as well as support nonprofit communities. Something about me, I absolutely adore those who work on the ground and are helping others that actually need the help, doing the actual work. And that is what I want to do, is support them. And I know a lot of times for nonprofits, it's really difficult to focus on, one, raising money to fulfill the mission, and then two, actually doing the mission. So my job is to really help them focus on what they do best, which is serve. So Shop Bob will be a serving platform for them that will allow them to fund their nonprofits. I will also be highlighting Black-owned businesses. Oh, I love that. From any level, from the mom and pop shop that just started their Shopify store to the brand that is already in marketplaces and in spaces such as Walmart and Target and things like that. But the whole idea that I'm doing with Shop Bob Live is really introducing what it is that they're doing, so that way you have an understanding of the why behind their business. There's something about when we spend our dollars and we know the person that's behind that brand, it's just something that we connect with that brand just a little more, don't you? When you know that that person who that you're shopping from was a person that had a vision, that really persevered and then became who they are today, there's something about that buy that just makes you feel a little bit better about what you're doing. And that is what Shop Bob Live is. So every single week, I am going to bring you amazing business owners, experts, to help you build and help you grow. So for tonight, baby, I've got a really great treat for you. I'm really excited about our first guest that is coming in tonight, because a topic that a lot of us should talk about, but we don't, because a lot of us feel that it is taboo and risque, is intimacy. Already that word, pretty sure, triggers a few people talking about intimacy. And I'm super excited to have a certified sexologist come in tonight to really help us grow in an understanding of what it is that pertains to life, love, and intimacy. So if you have questions, you are welcome to drop it as a comment. Please throw some hearts there. Like, thank you so much for joining us. I see you. And I'm going to bring in our first guest because it is really important to speak with an expert who knows how to guide us, so that way we are well informed. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring in our first guest today, who is Coach Kaye from Richmond, Virginia. We are super excited that are coming in today. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, I am really, really excited about this conversation that we're about to have, because I was speaking to some of my friends and they were like, are you sure you're going to do this? I'm like, yes, because we need a better understanding of what's going on and how we can get help and resources if we're finding resistance in that area. So if you can, please introduce yourself and what it is you do to our audience.
Absolutely. And again, thank you. My name is Kanya Ford, but I do go by Coach Kaye. So I'm a life coach and a certified clinical sexologist and a master sexologist. And I work with women on one scale, and then I work with couples on another. So with women, I work with helping women to understand, acknowledge, and accept their value, their self-worth, and set personal boundaries through self-love, accountability, and truly owning your sexuality. Because when you own your sexuality, you just show up differently in the world. And then I work with couples on strengthening their intimacy literacy. Many times couples can be saying the same thing. They may be kind of on the same page, but because they're not understanding their love language,
Mm-hmm.
um, there's that disconnect. So getting that intimacy literacy in place is what I work on with couples.
Okay, so I'm just going to be super transparent with you. Thank you for all those who are in putting those hearts up, definitely, because growing up, I grew up under in a religious home, and I was told as a young girl that those type of feelings, or really owning that side of me that did have I'm trying to find the right words without overextending myself. But it was taboo to
Mm-hmm.
feel a certain self-awareness. It was a certain taboo to express that part of me, and it was a huge taboo to even really have conversations with like that with other women,
Yeah.
let alone a partner that I am dealing with in the evening hours. So if you could, because I want to talk about specifically individuals, and then we're going to go into couples work. But what are some of the resistance that you may encounter that you offer services to help blossom?
I think the biggest resistance is communicating wants, needs, and desires. One of the things that I say to, because I do speaking engagements, and I always say that women, we have two sets of lips. You can't open one and keep the other closed. We have to be able to ask for and be okay with saying, hey, I don't like that. And because when you don't, you start to build up resentment, and then you just quash what you deserve, and you walk around in misery. And that's where infidelity can come into play. That's where self-doubt can come into play. That's where complacency,
Mm-hmm.
divorce rates, that's where all of that comes into play. So that's the hugest thing. And the next thing besides that is self-pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I think that it's more or less looked at as ill, gross. Why would I do that? Because it's not understood.
Mm-hmm.
That is a huge form of self-care, actually. Because how can you expect someone to please you when you have no clue what pleases you?
Wow.
So, I have a like, it's like a 20-minute online course that just is 5 steps to master masturbation. It
Okay.
doesn't tell you how to do,
Mm-hmm.
but just how to get that mindset into that space.
Yes, yes. For that specific thing, um, sometimes even for myself growing up, it was the permission to give myself. Like I couldn't give myself permission to explore, to admire, to even just like look at myself in the mirror. That was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be strike down. This is, I'm not supposed to do that. Oh my goodness, let me wear a turtleneck all the time. So that is a huge thing that I feel could really help a lot of people. So you say that you have a course that allows people to really break down the mindset of exploration.
Yes, it's a really short one, just to get, it's
Mm-hmm.
literally 5 things to help you get to that masturbation point. Because what I do is it's non-physical work. I work in the mental space, because to me, sex starts in the mind and the body just happily follows. So if the mind is cluttered, the body is going to be cluttered.
If the mind is cluttered, the body is going to be cluttered. Okay, so for those who are watching and struggling with that intimacy exploration, is there something that we can do? Because I know that for businesses, we use like words of affirmations, we have post-its on our mirrors. Is there one thing that you can share that we can probably do just to tell us it's okay to say no, say yes, say maybe, we'll see?
That it comes with, I would say, practice it. I have a 5-week online boot camp. It's called Own Your Ish, Sis.
Okay.
And the very first week is about yeses and nos. There's a negative day and then there's a positive day. There's one day where you have to go through and everything is yes, agreeable. And then there's a day where everything is no, negative. And so what it does is put you in a present state of mind of, am I conscious when I say yes? Am I conscious when I say no? Am I even asking for what I need, or am I just saying words? And so when I created that boot camp, it truly was the 17-year-old in me, right before I became a mom at 18.
Right.
I wasn't given permission for myself to be me, but I gave it all to whomever. I just gave all of that away because I didn't know how to say yes or no in a conscious form. Yes. But once you're able to work on that, autopilot kicks in and no comes out of your mouth before you even say yes by accident.
See, and I love that. And Lonnie B. Brown, thank you so much for joining, because also made a great point, because I love that with that practice, we get, it almost makes it perfect. So once we, that first time, and I'm not talking about the act, I'm talking about the decision to make, just saying yes or just saying no, that first time sometimes is the hardest thing to make the decision. But once you've made the decision, and that's with anything, within starting a business, within choosing food, within choosing food to eat, once you make the decision, now the body becomes in alignment with what we've decided in our head. So Lonnie B. Brown, she also expresses body shaming, which is a huge part of how we present ourselves, because a lot of times we are not in a mental space to accept ourselves for even someone else to indulge or to participate. And how is it for clients, because I know that's a huge thing for women in general, which is why the fashion industry is a gajillion-dollar business with Spanx and all of the contraptions that we put on and put together. So within it comes into perception of who we are on the outside. How is that working with you as well?
One of the things that I get my clients to do, and I do this myself literally every single day. When I get out of the shower, I only will lotion up and get dressed in my mirror. And because I want to, and I tell my clients, I want to see what I'm touching. I want to embrace. If it's something that I don't like on myself, I'm embracing this every day. So I'm talking to myself, okay, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to get this to a place where I want it? Because once you make a decision to get something where you want it, there is no one that can say something to you and it affects you to the point of quashing who you are. It's more or less, I worked on getting it to this place and I'm happy with it. So it doesn't matter what you say. So once you can take control of your own image, so to say, Because it is hard when someone says, oh, you know, especially in the family, in our community, oh, you look like you done picked up some pounds, or you can miss a meal. You know, those little tiny little things, they wear on you.
Yes. Yes, that is not a greeting.
It
Hey,
is
girl, you
not.
look like you done put on some weight. What you doing?
But touch, feel, and love on yourself. That's the part that matters. When I tell you that every single part of me gets my hands and my wet body butter in the mirror, it does.
Whew. I don't know, because I already know there's resistance in the mirror. The mirror's not, the mirror sometimes be your friend, and then you go ahead and you wipe off the misty dew, and then you're like, man. The mirror is not always our best friend, but I love that you're really keeping in that whole frame of doing it and then keep doing it, because every time you shower daily, if you put yourself in that space where you see it, you put it in your face. This is who you are.
Yeah.
This is who you are. And now taking something that is so caring as our hands, we have amazing growing hands. And these hands are not just for plants and for flowers. These hands are healing to even ourselves. And so using that, even that motion of loving and caring for yourself can help the mind frame. This is good, because I'm gonna be real, because I'm definitely a lights off girl. I'll be like, ooh, don't look. Okay, just hurry up. Elbows, knees, feet, socks onto the bed.
You got to turn the lights on.
I don't know. We gonna get there. I don't know. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. After we unbind all of the garments and the garden belts, and oh my goodness, we gotta rub out the imprints from all of the contraptions that we wear. Yes, I know, y'all. I wear all of that stuff too. But no, that is really super important, and that's where I feel that a lot of us are afraid to even have these conversations. We're afraid to admit, man, I'm blocked here.
Yeah.
Man, I'm blocked. And then when it's time to explore, now we're coming with that same mindset as it being a chore and not an actual experience.
Yes.
And I have been so guilty in the past of it being a chore and not really experiencing it. One thing I definitely was intrigued going through your profile and going through your Instagram profile, was, how does one even decide to get trained to in this focused category? What was the why behind creating this brand of love and intimacy?
Just as a young person, I've always been curious about human sexuality. I'm the person that watches porn and I'm not aroused. I'm trying to figure out, well, why did they do that? Well, what, I wonder why her face is like that. Well, that doesn't seem possible. So that's always been something that I want to understand people. You know, my background is in human resources. So I deal in people. And so, like I was saying, I went from 17 to mother. And so I never learned the womanhood piece. So I've been a mother for 22 years, 5 children. So at some point I had to realize, how do I get back to the woman? Because that's the core of me. Yes, I'm mom, I'm wife, I'm entrepreneur, I'm best friend, I'm cousin, I'm auntie, I'm da-da-da. But without the woman piece, what am I? And the womanhood is what's connected to nature. And it's our natural beings that has the desires that we do not speak up on. And so when I found that, because I'm a bedroom candy consultant, and so Dr. Rachel and Candy are close friends. So when she introduced the program, I was like, hey, that's me. You know, I've been doing this for free with friends all my life, just talking about things and trying to figure things out. Why not And I
Make a
named the
business.
business Love and Intimacy 101
Mm-hmm.
because in college or even in high school, all of the core courses are 100 and 101.
Yes.
My job is to get us back to the basics
I love that.
so
I
we
love,
can move forward.
I love that. I love that. Really understanding that what you're doing is so needed. Like I said, like growing up in the church, we were not allowed to talk about it at all. And I, growing up, was just like, so how do you prepare for your mate if you have no idea what you're walking into?
Yeah.
You have no idea how to please, nor do you know what it is that pleases you, because we are individual people that are coming together to have an experience, a
Yeah.
spectacle, hopefully. And that is what it is so important, that we have this space, that we have the ability to come to a coach, to have a resource that we could go back to the basics and be like, look, I've been over here winging it all this time. I've been watching these videos. I don't know how that happens. How do you get to the point where she was at 2 minutes and 32 seconds on this one? Like, how did you get to there? Right? How is that? How is that applied? How is that application put on me? I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do that. I'm not flexible. So that's why it is. I love that you really decided to move forward in this field. Another thing that you really pointed out that I want to delve deeper in is identity. And I think that is such a huge thing that a lot of people don't talk about, because we wear the hat of mother, we wear the hat of sister, we wear the hat of best friend, we wear the hat of business owner and all of that. But when we go home and we take all of those hats, insert name, who is that person?
That's that right there. Literally, it's either week 2 or week 3 of the boot camp. It's strictly about that. When I tell you that that boot camp is broken down into 5 pillars
Mm-hmm.
of deep, digging down deep, getting that
Mm-hmm.
voice and using it on purpose. Because there is an activity. The boot camp is physical activities that women put themselves through mentally. Because we will remember physical things all day long.
Yes.
But
Yes.
those mental things, we file it away and we just let it, oh, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
And so these activities that you're physically going through, when you're faced with that situation of, I don't really want to go to this function for my cousin because I'm depressed today and I'm not feeling well and I need to do something for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'll remember, okay, I can peel her off and I don't have to be niece today and I can just not go and it's okay.
That is so hard. It's okay. That is the hardest thing to accept. It's okay, because we always try to be everything for everybody, and we're never everything for ourselves.
Yes, that's the ticket. Like if I show up to something, my family knows it's a big deal because I actually want to be there. I don't just go to things because they're happening. So if I'm there, I presently and currently I want to be there because I know how to say no. I pulled up in a church parking lot at a wedding, looked at my husband and said, "You know what? You want to go back home?" He said yes, and we went back home because I just didn't want to be there.
Oh, I need this freedom. I need, where's the F it button? I need that freedom, the free button, the free button, because that right there, if we just learned how to be free, just
And that was a step because you got to think, I agreed to go because I was still working on me,
right,
but I
right.
was able to get to that place and talk to myself and say, you really don't want to be in there. And so those are the steps that you can take. You
Yes.
can agree to go because you don't know how to say no in person, but then
Mm.
when you get there, if you don't want to be there, you back out and you leave, and it gives you time to just process what just happened.
Mm. Okay. This is right. Like, this is really resonating with me because you started off saying how we show up when we are in a space of alignment with ourselves. And so, as those who are going through your boot camp, can you, I guess, t- give me a testimony pretty much of what you're seeing of those who started and how they're showing up after now using these practical these boot camp actions that they're doing to help them really redefine themselves.
There was one young lady who went through, and she was in a relationship, and she
Mm-hmm.
would, tell me different things because we do checkpoints at week
Mm-hmm.
1, 3, and 5.
Right.
And I am a coach. I'm not going to tell you to do things one way or the other. I'm only going to provide tools. And so, as she's going through the boot camp, by week 5, she was at the place of, okay, I am now at the front of this line. This relationship does not serve me a positive purpose. I'm going to speak on what I need. And if this person decides to stay in a relationship with me, great. If not, not. That relationship with her, they ended about over a year ago. And I'm still watching her thrive and grow. I had one lady by week 3, she finally sold her business that she said she was tired of working at, and she
Mm-hmm.
just started working there on weekends. And it was okay. And she realized it was okay. And I genuinely love when the women send me, because it's worksheets, when they send me their worksheets
Mm-hmm.
and I'm reading, this is what I learned. I realized I was doing this thing so much, it was unconsciously being done, but I flipped it, and it's almost indescribable to see the actual growth. It makes me feel good that these practices are in there every day because they don't go anywhere. Those tools are with you forever.
Yes. 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 Okay, I love this because I keep saying I love this because I really do. Um because what you're saying is that when we understand who we are and understand our yeses and our nos, the same tools applies. It's almost a universal application. So we know, just like when you showed up to the wedding, you was like, this is not serving me today. I can move on. And you were able to just stand on that decision and
Mm-hmm.
then just said no. And then the day was just fine. You and your husband had a pleasant evening away from the family. I
Yep.
love that.
And that goes
I
in
love,
your career.
oh man. Okay. Because I'm like, man, I only got 30 minutes. Okay. Because there's so much I could go into just simply off of that. But I do want to move forward because you also have experience in working in couples within marriages. And one thing, like I said, we don't have these conversations. I think it was somebody else that said it, that how do we know how to show up if we don't communicate with our partner what it is that we expect, what we desire, what we are looking forward to. And when it comes to that self exploration, and this is about really just knowing our self worth, really just knowing our yeses and nos, that's what we're focusing on. How do we, or when do we have those conversations when meeting someone new? Because the dating apps are completely taken over the world, and we're now communicating and connecting with a push of a button, swiping, hoping that there is some kind of compatibility and chemistry. And I'm just gonna say that a lot of people that I have connected with lackluster, like just duds, just so, so how do that's what I'm saying. There's so many ways that we could go into this. Man, I wish I planned this differently. How is that process, like when should we really start that conversation with someone new, or is it too late if you're already in a relationship and just, oh well, throw it away?
I would say by week 3,
Mm-hmm.
you should be having not all the way pointed, but enough conversations that you're asking questions. How's the relationship with your mother? Why is it like that? How's the relationship with your father? Why is it like that? Do you have siblings? How do you handle finances? Okay, if you had this bank account and you needed to buy this and you had 2 weeks before the next check and you wanted these shoes, how do you handle that? Keeping it light, but really paying attention. And I say week 3 because in the first 2 weeks,
Yes.
you should be watching and paying attention to actions. Because if these actions don't match these answers, then you have a professional interviewer on your hands. And they're giving you the answers that sounds the best. And so understanding people's intentions matter when it comes to anything long term. If those intentions are there based on the actions and those words maybe a little fuzzy, they may not just know the words, but be careful of the professional interview when it comes to dating.
Okay, you just blew my world right there, because now that you said that, it literally was like, boom, a professional interviewer. I am a single woman. I have had encounters meeting new people, and man, if they don't say the perfect answers, almost sometimes I think dating profiles sometimes hinder us, because they give so much information up front that the other person can literally say, okay, now I know what your likes are. I can be who you want me to be, and then until I get what it is that I need from you, whatever it is, and then now, okay, here's the dump. Now, oh wow, you couldn't keep up the facade. Oh wow, it's only 3 weeks in and already you inconsistent. So that right there, a professional interviewer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sit on that for a minute. I'm gonna have to sit on that for a minute. That's incredible, because in all honesty, I hate to say this, I'm a professional interviewer.
Most of us are. You want to present the best version of you.
Is it real? No, but I'm just like, yes, I love to whatever. Oh, absolutely. I never check my phone. I'm always easy to reach. I'm always whatever it is, just to make myself look in the best light. And then I'm like, man, that ain't true. I'm not
And then
getting
you be
up at
like,
6 in the morning, right? Oh my goodness.
yeah,
I,
that's such a real thing. I had somebody tell me when I met them in person, "Oh my gosh, you're the same person that you are online." I was like, "Yeah, I am."
I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
You're not guilty. You're human.
We are human. Okay. 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 Whew, that's a whole nother thing I could get into. For couples though,
Mhm.
who are established, and they are, as with any relationship, I come from a long line of married folks, grandparents 60 years plus, parents 40-year plus. I do know that there are, just like the waves in the ocean, there are ebbs and there are tides. And for couples, whether married together, however they are, how at what point would it be appropriate for them to say, we need to see a coach? Because let's be real, baby, let's be real. Sometimes our partners don't want to hear that they ain't doing it no more. They don't want to hear that the same routine is now a chore. And how at what point can someone really express that, and maybe what's the best way to even spark that conversation without offending someone?
So on the first part, when is the
Mm-hmm.
best time to see a coach
Mm-hmm.
is probably 6 months to a year before you even walk down the aisle. That's the best time. Um, Once you've already, made that commitment, the best time to see a coach is when you find yourself not being truthful in your answers. The first time that you don't want to hurt your partner's feelings, and so you just give them the answer that they want to hear, that is the time that I need to see a coach, because you're not going to be truthful at all in the marriage if you can't be truthful when they ask, do you like the shirt? You say no, and you clearly know that you don't like the shirt.
Right.
That's something, it's minor and it's minuscule, but I'm 17 years into a marriage. I know that those itty bitty little things like that, all of that matters.
Mm-hmm.
I created a 10 ways to I do premarital coaching program, but it's also made for people who are already married, because we don't have conversations that we need to have even 10, 15, and 20 years into marriages. We don't always have those conversations. And in coaching, it's a proactive approach where, most times therapy and counseling are reactive approaches. So coaching is always a viable option.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to bring it up is to say, this is the third time that we've had this conversation, and we're not really getting anywhere, and I want us to. How do you feel about having, just sitting down and talking with somebody to see if we can sort this out? Give away your power in that conversation to say, what is the best way that I can support us in having this conversation? Maybe we get a third party, neutral person, just so they can hear it differently and they can help us have that conversation.
I think that's a really nice way of saying you ain't getting it. We not here.
Yeah.
Let's go to the professional, because that ain't working no more. That ain't working no more. Because I know that I guess they call it that 7-year itch, even in marriages, where you just need to almost reinvent, because we're changing as individuals. Every year, every few years, we are actually evolving. And so I'm not the same person I was 7 years ago. I wouldn't expect to be the same person today I am 7 years from now. My likes, my dislikes, what I will agree to and what I won't agree to, I'm sure is going to change. So it is important to have those conversations and really find an expert who can help, instead of just winging it or just giving up our power and just saying, all right, this is just what it is, because we don't have to settle. Even in that space, we should never have to settle. So I love that as well. So you also do a show, Love, Sex, and Marriage. You want to speak more on this for people, that way they can really participate and ask more questions, because I know tons of questions is coming in. I see Lonnie B. Brown is still going in. Yes, tons of questions. I'm pretty sure people would want to reach out to you.
Absolutely. So every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do a live discussion, which is called Sex, Love, and Marriage. And it's just a new topic in all of those spaces. I go live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, as well as, it's a fourth one that I can't, Clubhouse.
Okay.
And I do it simultaneously. The replays will forever live there. So, all of my platforms are Coach Kaye 101. So you can always look those up. I do take, if you want to ask a question anonymously, you can. But I feel like I need to do those quick 20 to 30 minute discussions just to get the conversation started.
Mm-hmm. And that's important, to get the conversation started, because it's just like, once you get it out, now you have somewhere to go. And then as the conversation, going back to the practicing, going back to routine, going back to be consistent, hitting it, it gets a little easier for us to delve a little deeper. It gets a little easier for us to look in the mirror a little longer. Oh man, oh, I wish I could keep you forever, but this is really, really good, because I'm glad that we've got the conversation started here, because I don't think in our community, I think we over sexualize intimacy, and we're not getting to the basics, which is the 101 of true intimacy within ourselves and within our partners. I think it is so, so important. So everyone, I hope you, if you're not following Coach Kaye 101, if you click on the button at the top left, a drop down will happen. You can follow really quickly, but make sure Tuesday nights you go to Coach Kaye 101 and check out Sex, Love, and Marriage. And of course, to get a part of this boot camp program, I think it's almost like you don't know that you need it until you get in and you're like, wow, I really needed this. I really needed this. So I am hoping, even for those who are watching on the replay, thank you. Make sure you go and check in, because how you show up in all aspects, it all starts within. It all starts within and building. Thank you so, so, so much. I really appreciate this. Man, I got to do this again. I hope I could get you again for another round here, and we could even go deeper into that, all the things, because I got tons of questions.
Absolutely.
Shop Bob is growing, and I want you to be a part of it. Yes, you. If you are a business owner, I want to interview you live. I want to know more about the why behind your business. And if you want to know more about what Shop Bob is doing, then check us out at shopbob.com.